Hello everyone, a very good afternoon. Hello everyone, a very good afternoon. I, Archana, moderator of today's international webinar, Global Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic on Business and Economic Electronic Platform, Zoom, hosted by Central India College of Business Management and Studies, Nagpur. I welcome you all to the international webinar, Global Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic on Business and Economy. Now I request Dr. Manoj Kumar Rao, webinar convener, Central India College of Business Management and Studies, Nagpur, to welcome and address the theme of webinar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. A warm good afternoon to all. I, Dr. Manoj Kumar Rao, welcome you all on today's webinar that is organized by our Central India College of Business Management and Studies, which is affiliated to RTM Nagpur University. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our inaugural speaker, Honorable Economist Alvaro Andrade, Economist SDNS, and is coordinator for Quito, Ecuador. We are really honored, sir, that you took out your valuable time for us. It's my great pleasure to welcome our keynote speaker, the Joseph Edioson, Brand Strategies founder, TJAN, Nigeria. We are really honored to have you with us, sir. I also welcome our dynamic director, Dr. Abdul Ahad. Sir, we are very thankful for your continuous support and guidance. Central India College of Business Management and Studies has been established in 2009 under the aegis of Mehmuda Shikshan and Mahila Gramin Vikas Bahudeshya Sanstha. The institution has been formed to spread the ethos of good societal practices in discipline of management to students of all sections without bias towards caste, creed, color, or religion. We believe in the right to education to all sections of society and empowering the students with a sound knowledge base to serve the society. As today we are here to participate in this webinar, as we know that coronavirus outburst in the is trembling up to global economy on a huge scale. The world is scrambling hard to fight the current and upcoming economic consequences. As this global economic crisis continues, it is expected that business will not return to normal for a long time. Hesitation among consumers to go out and shop will be visibly seen, impacting the overall seller-buyer conventional journey. Some global business leaders expect that in post-COVID-19 world, India could play an important role in geopolitics as well as in becoming a global manufacturing hub. It seems that we are slowly moving towards a gradual removal of the lockdown for some sectors, parts of the economy. The government doesn't have any other alternative other than focus on lives and livelihood. The biggest challenge businesses will face will be restarting their operations. I hope this international webinar will definitely show our roadmap to our educationists, teachers, and policymakers. Once again, I welcome you all, and now I will call Rosni ma'am to introduce our today's speaker. Over to Rosni ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Ms. Roshni to introduce our inaugural speaker.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello, everyone. My name is Álvaro Andrade from Ecuador.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
Roshni ma'am, you are audible, please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Honorable Alvaro Andrade, economist, SDNS, and this coordinator for Ecuador. Alvaro Andrade is an Ecuadorian economist with experience in planning, sustainable development, and territorial foresight, diploma on governance and sustainability in extractive industry from the Pontifical Catholic University of Peru. He has participated as an expert in multi-scalar planning at ECLAC and as a civil society representative in the High Level Political Forum 2018. Alvaro is the executive director of Investoria Foundation in, in Ecuador and the local coordinator for SDSN Andes.
Hello. Thank you very much. My name is Álvaro Andrade from Ecuador. Sorry for my accent. If you can understand me, I can repeat. I'm from Ecuador. Here is 3 in the morning, but for me, it's an honor to share with you this space. Uh, I will going to talk about issues related to coronavirus and economic prospects in Latin America. I am currently the local coordinator of the Sustainable Development Solution Network in the Andean region for Ecuador, and I'm also the executive director of Investoria Foundation and non-profile organization in Ecuador. The topic that I will share with you is post-COVID-19 pandemic scenarios in the Andean region. So we will begin. We are going to analyze the cases of coronavirus throughout the world. We have today we have around 29 million of people who has infected according to the Johns Hopkins University. We can see that the most affected countries in the world are the United States with 2.3 million affected, Brazil, Russia, India, UK, Peru, Chile, Spain, Italy, and Iran are the top 10 in the world with most people affected. Uh, the total number of death is 473,000 people. Here we have that Brazil, United States, UK, Italy, and France are the most affected countries. And we can also see that the cure is increasing from February to June. Uh, Here we have some data from Pan American Health Organization from the American region. We have some cumulative cases. 4.4 million people has infected have infected with the coronavirus. We have 224,000 cumulative deaths and 1.8 million cumulative recovered in the world, in the Latin American region. If we analyze the curve by country of accumulated cases, we have that the United States is the country with the most cases in America, followed by Brazil, Chile, and Peru. It's important to analyze that Chile and Peru has too less population than the United States or Brazil. It's around 20 million of people. If we analyze the below curve, we can see the deaths by country, and we can see that United States and Brazil continue to lead the curve, but we can see that Mexico and Canada have more deaths than Chile and Peru. Even those countries has more cumulative cases. Here we can see the cases by country. We can see that Chile has more than 200,000 cases of coronavirus, and Peru has more than 200 and a half thousand cases. Other countries like Colombia and Ecuador has more than 50,000 cases, and Brazil is the most affected country in South America region with more than 1 million of cases. It's important to analyze that the 10 countries in Latin America, in South America, cumulative cases is 1.8 million, and cumulative deaths is around 72,000 people. We have cumulative recovered people with around 100,000, 1 million, sorry. In addition to the coronavirus effects, it's necessary to analyze some economic and social challenges that the coronavirus evidence in Latin America. It's important to analyze that Latin America is one of the most inequitable regions in the world, and the region depends a lot of commodity prices. Some sectors like copper, soybeans, and oil are uh, are falling in the last months, and it due to a current crisis because mining oil and raw materials prices has fallen. This will further deepen the crisis existing by the coronavirus in the region. Countries like Ecuador or Peru depend almost entirely on the commodity prices. The national budget and the policy, fiscal policy are based on the commodity prices. Here we can see the impact in economics for the future years, and we can see that the economy impacts will affect everyone in the world, but we can see that Latin American Caribbean region will be one of the most affected regions in the world. In the most extreme scenario, we can see the region will lose around 6% of its growth. And in the most moderate or conservative scenario, we can see that there is a drop of about 2% of the GDP. If we analyze the Andean countries in the South Cone, we can see that countries like Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, and Chile will be the most affected countries in Latin America with a loss around of 7% of the GDP. In the graph, we can see the depth of the crisis and how it will last until 2022. Uh, some information for the International Monetary Fund's perspective for economics in Latin America. We can see in the cases by country that the Ecuador and Mexico economies may be the most affected economies in the region, falling less than 6% of the GDP. Venezuela will suffer a drop of more than 15%, but it is a country that has been in a crisis for several years. If we analyze employment, we have a graph for the EIDB about the distribution of employment by economics activities in Latin America and the Caribbean. Sectors like mining and gas and oil has almost a half of people who work in informal sector, and we can see that informal sector, informal jobs has a really strong importance in the Latin American economics. Informal employment will be one of the most affected in the economy, and it will generate some problems like extreme poverty, migration, crime, and some cases of violence. We can see agriculture and fishing has more than a half or almost all sector works in the informal jobs, and it is important to analyze when we analyze the crisis post COVID-19. Here are some scenarios of formal job loss due to the COVID-19 in Latin America, and we analyze and we can see that in the short term, we will expect a loss around of 4% of jobs in the medium term. In the long term, we can see that it expects to lose around 8% of jobs in the Latin America region, and it is and in the possible long recession, it aims to lose around of 14% of the jobs. Here we can see that the magnitude of the crisis in the region, and we can think that in the informal employment, the cases will be much stronger. Corruption cases has been the most alarming in the region. Almost all countries have corruption cases. The right side, you can see where are the cases of corruption in the Latin America, and you can see that it is in almost all the region. Even during normal times, Latin America has um, some corruption cases, including in the health sector. The coronavirus has only amplified this challenge, giving an snowballing demand for medication and medical equipment and services. Increased corruption is not inevitable. However, it's necessary to careful the public procurement, real-time transparency, robust monitoring, and robust civil society oversight to help prevent corruption. So it's necessary to ask what steps are the government and civil society organization taking to respond to increased corruption in the region. Um, Even the crisis is necessary to think about solution and alternatives that the regions and the countries have to solve the problem. One important tool is foresight. It's necessary to generate a long-term vision in territories to anticipate the crisis. A part of the long-term vision is to think about the theory of the black swan. This theory tells us that there are cases that we cannot anticipate, but they leave a great teaching for us to we can anticipate we can act in the future. These crises leave us a great lessons of how to act in the term of generating alliances, generate better social policy, improve urban planification, and promote a better health and education service to avoid the future crises or to improve our capacity of response. This is a book named the Black Swan. Is based in the crisis in USA related with the Twin Towers in 2001, and it is about unexpected events and what it teaching for us for the future of the humanity. Among the alternatives that the country has already taken, the Inter-American Development Bank highlights monetary policy. Policies like reduction interest rate, intervention in the forex exchange market, provide liquidity in dollar through swap lines, purchase of private security are the most highlight policies that the region are implementing. um, you can see that Ecuador is not in the list because Ecuador is the only country in in South America that has a dollar like an official money, and it can um, and this country can't to apply monetary policy. It will conduce to another way of the crisis too. Uh, we can also see that the credit sector has a vital importance in the local economy. Currently, the total amount of credits, including private sector and public sector, represents around 130% of the GDP. And if we only allowance the non-financial private sector, we can see that it represents around 40% of the GDP. The most recurrent policies used to respond to coronavirus crisis in the region have been a temporary moratorium of loans, increased liquidity or credits, liquidity of reserve requirements, and we can see that almost all countries are applying those policies to respond to coronavirus. Um, Temporary moratorium of loans will amplify for the next month inclusive, and it is necessary because Latin America, as we can see in Latin America, we have a big big rate of informal employment. If we analyze the fiscal policy action taken by country, we can see that transfer to households, reduction or deferral labor taxes, and social security contributions, deferral of other taxes, credit lines for firms, debt service deferral, and salary compensation to workers are the more common policies in the region. It depends of the political position of the government in office, but we can see that there are more uh, progressive policies and other that are much too much conservative, but we can see transfer to households or salary compensation to workers are common policies in almost all countries in the region. In a global way, it's important to analyze the role that global agendas play in to work against the crisis. The 2030 Agenda represents a set of tools that can help us to join efforts and develop a better development model for the future. These are 17 objectives that are focused on eradicating poverty, promoting peace, generating alliances, and taking care of the planet. In 2020, it begins the Decade Action Campaign for the Sustainable Development, which can help us to think in the way that we act and the way that we can change the world. I invite you to be part of this action. I consider that the SDGs represent a tools to rethink the development model in our countries. Finally, the current crisis invite us to think about the new ways of doing business. Sustainable business emerged as a new way of change the world. Initiatives like UN Global Compact, GRI for Empowerment Sustainable Decision, and B System uh, for new model of business invite the private sector to be an active part of the sustainable development and to respond positively to the crisis. This was my presentation. I think we all have a role to change the world and to respond to crisis. And I invite you to be part of the change. Thank you very much. I will attend to your question in the future minutes. Thank you.
Archana ma'am. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Ma'am, please unmute those participants who wish to ask any question.
Uh, Sir, actually,
Or
they can
they
message.
will.
Yeah, they can message
Okay.
it. I will read it and ask her to answer them.
Okay. Okay. So, dear participant, if you wish to ask any question, please use chat box. नहीं आया?
Any participants have any questions? Or they can raise hand. Sir, I think that there's no questions from participants. Thank you very much, sir, for your enlightening speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Honorable Dr. Joseph Adusin, brand strategist, founder, Tijan, Nigeria. The Joseph Adusin, TJA, is a brand strategist and a social entrepreneur. He informs new and improved thoughts towards ensuring visions thrives. His passion for nation building and discuss around it has gained him so many recognition locally and internationally. As a brand strategist, he is most known for proffering solutions to faculty structures and systems in organizations, hence laying the right culture for individuals and organizations to grow with. Having worked with personal brands, business, and agencies, even in government, in the accumulated space of 7 years, he is well experienced in the art and development as it concerns self, community, and nation in general. The striking a niche about his person and his brand is the glaring difference he brings to the table with simplicity and excellence. His passion for social entrepreneurship led him to start TJN, a non government global sy- syndicate for national builders in communities. TJAN started in January 2019 in Osun, state Nigeria, and has grown to be an antable platform for development in the state, having held a conference hosting the largest non-partisan gathering for entrepreneurs, professionals, and leaders from around and beyond the state in one location. The Joseph Addison is one sentence we would describe as a thinking man, deserving solving to ensure vision thrives. Over to Sir.
Um, Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. I hope we can all, if you can hear me, just raise your hands.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
All right, that is good. I am currently experiencing a technical difficulty and thereby might not be able to share my screen. But
Yes, sir.
You can share your
But
screen.
yeah, I said I'm experiencing a difficulty technically, and
Okay.
it might debar me from sharing my screen. But I
Just
will try as much as possible to make sure that everything I say is quite relatable. Is that fine?
yes, sir, sure.
All right. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a great pleasure to be here, and I was also privileged to be here during Honorable Alvaro Andrade's speech. It was quite an enlightenment, knowing fully well that we are not from the same geographical location, but then we can contribute to the global economy. He has expanded to us so well on the concept of what the COVID-19 brings to the table. He expanded, the number of deaths, which should be scary for most people. And he also expanded, on the jobs that seems to be lost, the businesses that will probably not be viable in this coming time. But you know, he also talked about, solutions and alternatives that he preferred to it. So thank you very much, Mr. Alvaro Andrade. I really appreciate it. It was an insightful session. I particularly will be talking about you, everybody here. You understand? Because I feel like when we talk about economy and businesses, we form the economy. We are the economy. If human beings aren't in existence, there probably won't be an economy to manage or to control or to analyze. You understand? And that is why I'm here. I want to see how we can drive our own efficiency, how to harness productivity, particularly for your own self, then for maybe your career path, the business you're building, the idea you're working on, or the innovation, that you're working on. So it's this is what you can take to any of those things. So first and foremost, um, I'd like to say that one of the biggest problem that I personally feel that we are facing in this country is, or globally as it were, everybody would know that yes, globally there's a pandemic, and it's been caused by a virus called COVID-19. You understand? But I haven't done so much research. It's not really, the biggest problem of humanity today. Yeah. And I know that that will come as a shock to so many of us. You understand? It will come as a very big shock to so many of us, that what does this person mean that we are not facing a pandemic as this? You understand? I'm not saying we are not facing a pandemic. I'm saying that is not the biggest problem of humanity currently. You see, the biggest problem of humanity is the fact that we are facing the hardest truths of our lives. This pandemic is making us realize one of the hardest truths of our life. You see, it's easy for you to stand in front of a mirror and look at it yourself if you were beautiful. You understand? If you were handsome. If probably you have a big growth at maybe your jaw. Do you understand? And then you are looking at the mirror, it becomes very difficult to even go to the mirror because you already know what to expect. You understand? Thank you very much. I see some people welcoming me from Nigeria. I really appreciate. Um, it becomes very difficult to look at that growth. And that is what a pandemic such as this has done to everybody. Everybody is now looking at themselves in the mirror. Corrupt leaders are looking at themselves and saying that they've done so much. In fact, in a place like Nigeria, one of our ministers said he didn't know that the health sector of Nigeria was this worse. And he wouldn't have known if there wasn't a pandemic like this. You understand? Showing all the lapses that should have been fixed in a on developing country as we are claim ourselves to be. And it's a bizarre on us that we can't see all of those things for what it is. We are just looking at the pandemic. Do you understand? So after the whole pandemic, because this pandemic will go, this is not the first time we are experiencing a global pandemic. You understand? This pandemic also will go. After this pandemic, we still have that hard truth to face. The truth that we need to look at ourselves, and unless some of those shocking things we are discovering, currently discovering, we are discovering the fact that there are no jobs enough for the people, and the jobs that they had, they are not even, elevated to the status of people working from anywhere behind in the country. Do you understand? The fact that we don't have good electricity, we don't have good network, and all of those things still become a problem in countries like Nigeria and some very a large expanse of places in Africa. You understand? Yeah, and the fact that all these things are still problems like the health sector, viable roads, educational systems. All of these problems are what we are seeing. These are the things that the global pandemic is showing forth to us. Do you understand? And as depressing as this might be, it's important to also note that we have to elevate ourselves. We have to do something now to savour what might happen in the later time. So I am going to be talking about ways that you, not the government now, how you can be a contributor productively to the economy. Do you understand? Because as I said, we are the economy. There's no The economy can't be described outside the auspices of human beings, as it were. Do you understand? Now I will be taking about five points I believe that we can all use to getting our productivity game, pre, in, and post COVID, to getting it, into a very good state. You know, and the first thing is being specific. Yes, we already know the problem. We already know that we are facing a global pandemic everywhere. Everywhere, everybody knows it. You understand? Some people are still arguing whether the virus is or there is no virus. In some places in Africa, Nigeria too, and whether they like it or not, globally, it's been accepted that there is a pandemic and people should be conscious of it. It's affecting businesses, crippling jobs. The unemployment rate is going up, tearing the roof. The health sector is being tested. Our roads that are not motorable before are being tested too. The educational system is probably put on halt in most places. We already understand perfectly the problem. The problem is not unknown to us. But what is it that we need to know? We need to know why we need to solve this problem. We need to solve this problem because it's a threat to human race, as it were, because anything that ends the livelihood of persons, it becomes a threat to human beings. You understand? It's not just ending the livelihood, it's also seems to be ending the lives of people. So it's a direct threat to human beings. So that's a big enough why for us. You understand? How do I want to see how generations can benefit from this why. Do you understand? I mean, you see, there are so many companies that started from the last pandemic. Yeah, a whole lot of companies started from the last pandemic, and it won't be a surprise to me if somebody out of this class is starting the next generation business. You understand? And can tell the story that we started when there was a pandemic. You see, the pandemic is not as much as it cripples a lot of business, a lot of career advancement. It's also a way for us to look inward, not outward now, to look inward. And that's why I said that we must be able to specify, we must be able to know our why. Why exactly do we want productivity as a person? And how does it affect, the general, public? Because affecting the general public is what I believe would be, the economic importance of whatever you are doing, or the social relevance of whatever you're doing. So if it's not affecting the public economically, which would mean that it's not putting money on people's faces or bringing money in, then you have to reason the economic importance. Then socially, if it's not contributing, maybe solving a particular problem, then you have to think about it. Why? You have to note all of those things down. Do you understand? As I said earlier, you say, I'm here particularly to talk about you, to talk about how you can be relevant in this pandemic to the economic, global economy, as it were. If you are relevant in your community, you will be relevant globally. Do you understand? So, and as I said, the first thing, if you are writing, is to specify, to know your why, know what you're doing, where you are headed. All of those things will help to drive productivity in the economy. It will also drive you to be productive. Now, the next thing is medium. Yes, the medium that you use is quite important now. Um, I recently just had a particular let me just say over 2 3 weeks. A lot of my friends from the banking sector, the finance sector, they've been calling and they've been sharing how there have been a downsizing, in the staff, and maybe even in the shortening of branches across the country in Nigeria. And it's not something we don't expect, you understand, because if you are as an entrepreneur, you would particularly want to know how to serve some of your business, how to save some of your resources, even in this time. Do you understand? You see, not every business is selling out currently. You understand? Not every business is making enough sales to keep the business running. So business leaders everywhere, they are using their wisdom to be able to shed in human resource, see how they can downsize, see how they can relieve some people of their duty. Do you understand? And it's then becomes a whole lot, because that means that's a whole lot of people that are going to be unemployed. Do you understand? Now, I tell people that one of the things you can contribute to the table of your employer is to provide a medium. Do you understand? Now, one of the biggest mediums that you see, we are here now. If this inaugural lecture was supposed to have held physically, I will probably be on my way or be landing in India currently. But currently, we are here and I'm connected to several persons. I see over 60 persons in the participant group, and I'm able to engage them from all around the world. Do you understand? Now, this is a medium, Zoom. This virtual space is a medium to reach out to people. Now, if you can't introduce this into your business, it becomes a problem. You understand? If you can't train your staff to be able to accept this virtual space, you see, let me not lie to you. I want to put it to you, there is no going back to business as usual. There is also no going back to life as usual. You see, life is predictably and arguably, put forward to always move. You see, we evolve as human beings. You understand? And this has to do with both our social relevance, our economic importance. All of those things evolve. You see, the things that were socially relevant 100 years ago are probably not socially relevant now. Do you understand? I mean, currently, if you were using an iPad in 100 years ago, you probably would be seen as the biggest boy in town, if there was an iPad then. Do you understand? But if you are using an iPad now, it's just a normal thing to use. Do you understand? So it's not the most important tool. Do you understand? It becomes just the normal. I mean, everybody goes with an iPad or a phone or a gadget. Do you understand? I mean, everybody here has a phone. For you to be connected to what I'm saying, you have a phone. So I believe that if you don't look at mediums to use, mediums like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Skype, Zoom, all of those mediums are social mediums to reach out to people. You see, Facebook has over 2 billion, users, and their engagement every day is off the roof. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are a career person, if you are doing working on an idea, it's an opportunity for you to connect with people globally currently. Do you understand? It's an opportunity for you to connect with people from different places of the world, from different walks of life, from different cultural backgrounds, from different social backgrounds. It's an opportunity. Don't see this global pandemic as the biggest problem to happen to humanity. See the fact that you can look in the mirror and begin to see the things you need to work on and start working on them. Start working on them, because you won't have this pandemic, as I said, it's a mirror to see ourselves and see the things we need to work on. If we are able to work on most of those things, we will come out of this pandemic better. Because as I said, there is no going back to business as usual. Am I saying that there will not be physical gatherings again? Yes, there will be. Do you understand? But it won't be as much as it used to be. Most persons, as in for my own self now, most of our workshops are like, it's a concluded deal that it will be online now. Do you understand? Every of my workshop will be virtual. So we'll be looking for ways to make it better, but we, of course, maybe conferences, we will make it offline when the time comes. Currently in Nigeria, we can't have physical gatherings currently in Nigeria. So whatever conference or workshop you have to do, it has to be done virtual. And it's an opportunity for me to connecting with every one of you here. I mean, we can follow each other on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of the apps you use that are viable to use, and let's see how we can connect. That's a medium. So choose a particular medium, go on to it, learn it. If you don't know how to use Facebook, learn it very well. I mean, there's a difference between posting pictures on Facebook and learning how to use Facebook to your profitability. Please, there's a big difference. Learn how to use Facebook to your profitability. A whole lot of people make millions on Facebook per day. So you can be part of that person. If you are making, you see, this is how it becomes important. You see, let me break it down for you. If you make 1 million, let's use the global currency rate. So you make $1 million in 1 month on Facebook. It's not just you making it, it's you and your economy. You've contributed to your economy by making that money. Let me explain. First, I know that you make that money, you would have needs. You would have to go to the grocery store, you would have to buy food, you would have to maybe give some people some money, maybe for their services that they are providing for you. Now, all of those things that you are giving out, you are also empowering people. Once when you go to the grocery store will also mark an attendance that one customer, one client came in today. Do you understand? Yeah, the person you give money for a service, maybe the plumber that came to work on your house, also has marked in his attendance that I got one client today. You see, so $1 million, even though you were the one that made it, are spread into like 10 different places. We are also going to continue in that ripple effect. Do you understand? And that is, if you that $1 million was able to get to 100 persons, that's 100 persons away from the people who have nothing to use monetarily in a pandemic like this. And that is why it is important for you to take that step currently to be able to force yourself towards an economy like this. In a place like Nigeria, the barring factor is good network, because network is not really viable. I mean, I'm saying now that I'm not able to share my screen, particularly because once I share the screen, the network begins to fluctuate. You hearing me becomes an issue. I tested it before I came into the class, you understand, and it was giving me issue, and I don't want it to be an issue where you can't hear my voice. You understand? So mediums, take a medium, learn about it. I've mentioned so many mediums. LinkedIn is there for professional networkers. Network with a lot of people. Ask them what they would like, what they are working on. You understand, what they would like you to work on with them. You understand? And let's see how we can connect. You understand? It's a good thing. I mean, I'm seeing a whole lot of Facebook requests coming in, and that's a good thing. I'm going to accept everything. and would follow up and see how we can engage ourselves from there. Then the next thing in this pandemic is self-discipline. You see, a whole lot of people don't have self-discipline, and it's not such a bother, but in the pandemic like this, it becomes a big issue because if you are unable to let me tell you what self-discipline is. Self-discipline is to say, I'm going to stay in this training for the space of 2 hours, and you will make sure that it is 2 hours. That's what self-discipline does. Do you understand? But normally uh, human ability doesn't make our retention to last that long. Usually it takes a lot to engage somebody for 2 hours and get his receptiveness, get his total devoted attention. Do you understand? As we are in this meeting, I know a whole lot of people are probably thinking of this and that. It's normal. You understand? It is total human connection. You understand? No, the total human ability. We are not probably able to be able to retain, stuffs for a whole lot of time. You understand? But you will begin to help yourself in disciplining yourself in following some routines. At this time, a whole lot can be lost. A whole lot, like knowing how to retain the things you've learned. If you are probably in a school and it is currently closed down, and maybe there is no online follow-up to the classes, and imagine your school has been on hold for 3 4 4 months. It's your retentive memory will begin to reduce. So you have to discipline yourself in picking up your books, routine, develop a routine for yourself, develop things you can do. Now, that's for students. If you are a business person, or you are somebody who you have a particular career path that you are pursuing, it becomes important for you to develop some routines for yourself. If you are not going to a physical location for your job, you develop routines that I'm going to be on my system by 8 a.m. in the morning, just the same way you would arrive at your office at 8 a.m. You are going to do this, you prepare to-do list for yourself. All of those things are important, or else you will slip away the time that you are supposed to use to productively engage your clients. You will slip away the time that you are probably supposed to be making sales, and then you will be a big problem to the economy, because if you are not making money economically, you are a problem. Yes, if you are not contributing to the economy, you are definitely taken away from the economy. So I feel like when you get to that point where you see that you probably cannot be in a physical location to work, working from home is also not as bad. You just have to be self-disciplined. Now, the fourth thing I would talk about is learn to take breaks. It's important that, okay, let me just explain this. At a point like this, everybody is looking at how to do the most. You see, a whole lot of webinars are going, especially in Nigeria. One of the things that started off this COVID was a lot of people were selling different things to people, how to, and you see, it's so good it's in as much as it's also a problem, because the person that doesn't need how to sell tomatoes is probably opting in for that class, because the person is just looking that I want to do something. You understand? Somebody has said we should do something, find the why, be disciplined, and the person is looking for, what do I do? What do I do that can at least engage me? Take a break and be able to, or take a step back and be able to process some of this data. Why would you be joining a class like this? What do you want to learn from a class like this? Don't just join everything. Don't just be here, there, and because if you are there, the time you should have invested in something profitable. You are investing in something that will not be profitable, and that time is at the expense of the economy. Do you understand? Because if you are not investing your time wisely, even though it is directly yours, but indirectly the economy would reap from whatever you use your time to do. As I am here impacting people, impacting over 60 people, I know for a surety if 40 out of you take some of these things I said and take it to practice, you would have done so much for the economy of, globally. It's not just for India alone now, globally, because I know some people, persons from the US are joining here, and I know I can see several people from Nigeria also in this place. So, and as I said, I know for a surety that if this economy, if your time were used judiciously, you will definitely, most definitely look at how to be a contributor and not just a problem to the economy. Now, the last thing I talked about it when I was talking about medium is collaboration. One of the things that a pandemic like this, offers to all of us is the fact that now we can collaborate on a global scale. I know it becomes a big problem to collaborate with people that you don't understand their language to the reasonable extent. You don't know their cultural background, their social inclinations. You don't know the things they care about. Some of the things you are passionate about, some persons are not passionate about. The things that supposedly are a problem in your direct community are possibly not a problem in somebody else's direct community. But you see, in the global space, there are things they are global problems. And I feel once people, global leaders like us, once we are able to identify them, it gives us that edge to be able to collaborate on a global level. We can now collaborate with persons on a global level. Now, how do you drive collaborations in a pandemic like this? You see, the first thing is identify a problem, global problem. As I said, if it's just a problem in your community, it might not be, a problem in several communities. Look for common ground. This is how I define, any form of relationship, even when it comes to collaboration. If any one of us understand mathematics very well, we would have seen the concept of sets. You see, now, or let me just use the example of two circles. Imagine two circles, separate circles, as human beings, and if they are supposed to collaborate, now they come together, not jointly. That's not what collaboration means. They just have to have an intersection, something they both care about. Do you understand? Something fundamental to both of them. You know, it's fundamental to you, fundamental also to the other person. Then you'll see how you can reach, a formidable, solution. I can work from where I am. That's what this pandemic, I can work with 30 other persons from anywhere in the world on a particular problem. You see, before the pandemic, I managed a project for the UK here in Nigeria, and I didn't have to go to the United Kingdom once. You understand? And it's because the virtual experience makes it easier for me to relate with them, give them daily reports on, the things that have been done. You see, my payment wasn't, disturbed in any way. Do you understand? They send it to my account, and we can work from different parts of the world just like that, even now. That is what a pandemic like this does. Look beyond your community. The pandemic brings the global world in one space. There's one problem affecting everybody, so there can be several solutions emanating from that problem that will also bring all of us together. An innovation such like Facebook brings the world together. Do you understand? And I'm not saying it has to be as big as Facebook. Do you understand? But I'm saying that who knows, it can grow into something as formidable and large enough as Facebook. You can be the provider of that. Yes, as an entrepreneur or as somebody, that has skills and pursuing a career path. So thank you very much. This brings me to the end of the class. I shared 5 bullet points that I feel that we can use to engage ourselves to drive our productivity to the next level, which will also be a big contributor to the economy as it were. So if there be any questions, I will be so glad to answer them. I will be handing over to the moderator sake of time.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening our participants and for informative deliberation.
Yeah.
Are there any questions from the participants?
So, ma'am, there are some questions in chat box. Some participant posted it there. In chat box, there are some questions. Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
There are some questions participant posted on in chat box.
Yes, I'll just check.
So I think we should read and.
Okay, there's a question from Alvora Andred. Latin America virus villains, corrupt official collide with price gorgeous for body bags and flimsy masks.
Well, I don't think that's a question though. I believe that Mr. Andre was just sharing. Mr.
Even
Ansat,
I think the same, sir. It's not a question.
And there is a question, Kola Diade. What are the measures your country is making to revive her economy during this period and the post-COVID-19?
can you is that a question for me?
Yeah, it is for you, sir.
Okay, what can you repeat the question, please?
What are the measures your country is making to revive the economy during this period and the post-COVID-19?
Okay, good. So currently in Nigeria, which is a country in Africa, as a continent, one of the ways we are using currently in Nigeria is first and foremost, there was a total shutdown, lockdown, let me put it that way, lockdown of the economy. Businesses were not operational, nothing was operational, and that's because obviously the people in the leadership were just getting to understand what the virus is and how large or how it can spread. So do you understand? So one of the ways we started with was the lockdown, but obviously no nation can shut down their economy for so long a time without any pre-plan. You understand? So particularly the government started opening measures, started creating some measures towards opening the economy. And that one of the first things they did was put regulatory bodies to enhance the awareness of safety. which is the first thing. You see, there is really nothing we can do to people's lives are at risk. You understand? And that's what the virus does. The virus puts both life and life into it. So awareness of safety going around in news channels, TV, using social media. You understand? There's been a whole lot widespread of awareness about the virus and the things you can do to avoid or report somebody that has the virus. Another thing the economy is doing is we, of course, so many of our systems are still in shutdown, but we are also employing, as I said earlier, one of the means to employ in this pandemic is, to choose a medium that allows virtual connections. You understand? So virtual connections has been the on go. You understand? For everybody. You understand that we are putting measures in place to make sure that there are no physical gatherings, as it were. You understand that everybody gets towards the virtual space. You understand? Well, one of the other things that we've been doing, government officials have been giving reliefs to people. It's important that as much as we are talking or discussing economy, there are people in secondary communities who live from hand to mouth. You understand? And it's pretty difficult for them at this point in time to be able to feed, let alone even start up a business, as it were. So we have a whole lot of benevolent individuals, philanthropists, and then political figures who have been contributing seriously to giving palliatives to the poorest of the poor, as it were, and for them to feed, as it were. Um, Also, we have also been looking at driving, as I said earlier, driving sectors of the economy into the virtual space. You understand? Our government forums have been virtual. Have been virtual. Our government forums, even the presidency addressing us, you understand, has been virtual too. You understand? So those are the measures that we've been taking to see how the economy can. And yes, of course, people have also been pointed towards things they can do for themselves, which agriculture seems to come at the top. Do you understand? Agriculture seems to call. We can make millions by the answer. All right, so agriculture currently seems to come at the top, because during the lockdown, a whole lot of people were forced to eat what they have or what they can see in their surroundings. So agriculture has been at the top. People that can grow crops, rear animals have been going seriously into it, because it's important for any economy to first feed the people before even saying come out and do a business or something. You must eat, as it were. So those are the measures. I hope I have answered the question.
Thank you so much, sir. There's another
Yeah.
question that is, what are trade possibilities with your country?
What are what?
Trade possibilities.
What are the creative possibilities?
Trade possibilities with your country.
Okay, let me check the
Yeah,
question in the chat room.
it's from Alok
All right,
Devdekar.
yes, yes. What
Yeah,
are the trade possibilities
yeah.
with your country? Okay, okay. That's a good question. Um, well, exchange of inter country exchange has always been a big possibility currently, even currently now, and even before. Do you understand? And the possibilities currently are even higher, because, as I said, a whole lot of people are looking into the virtual space, and trading is not as what we used to know it for before. it has improved. Now, one of the possibilities, I'll just share some. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things the country and the persons in the country are looking into is first agriculture. So if you have a market that can obtain agriculturally, you might want to connect with so many people here in Nigeria because it's now happening. But only the thing that might debar it would be that our ports and our airlines aren't open yet. You understand? But that is being worked on. By June, news reaching me says June 27, there will be a test run in the opening of our airlines to see, the possibilities. Do you understand? Because as I said, the international exchange is also important. One of the things that we exchange wise is human resource. You understand? Human resource, if you want to get things like your websites, your designs, corporate profiles, content for all of those things. They are things that a whole lot of young Nigerians are viable to be able to do at a go. You understand? And it also makes working from anywhere important. I particularly host a number of guys that can manage such process. You understand? I host them in the hub as well. So those and financial trade wise, currently, aside from I don't know if you are open to the crypto world. You understand, which allows trading globally. You understand? Yes, that is one of the basic ways that we Nigerians are also looking at, seeing how to mine and also to trade their cryptocurrencies as well. I also believe that gold gold is of course one of the top things that we trade. Really, in Nigeria used to be oil, but globally oil has become a very reduced trading commodity because every nation seems to want to have a surplus amount of it. You understand? So gold is something um, uh, that should also be considered. But as I said, gold currently would be luxury to a lot of people because, and that's why I needed to mention it last, because people are looking at things that can viable put foods on their table or can help put things together. So and having a gold watch probably might not be the biggest thing on people's mind, but of course there are people who want their luxuries, and if there are ways you can reach out to them, and then if you can get connections here in Nigeria, it would be very, very awesome. Gold is something that is still, what will be the future of sustainable energy other than crude oil? I would answer that. That's a good question. I have lots of questions. Um, I hope I answered the person that talked about trading, the trading possibilities from this side of the world. Are you there? Oh, very good. Okay. All right. Let me pick other.
Thank you so much, sir, for your excellent
Okay.
answers. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Manoj Pandey, Webinar Coordinator, Central India College of Business Management and Studies, Nagpur,
मेरा वीडियो ऑन
to
कर
propose the vote of thanks.
Yes. Hello, ma'am. Yes. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Good evening, one and all. As all
Good
good
evening.
things, as all good things come to an end in life, so is this webinar. On behalf of Central India College of Business Management, I, Manoj Bhattram Pandey, Assistant Professor and the coordinator of this international webinar, take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly or indirectly contributed to this international webinar on global impact of COVID pandemic on business and economic organized by CICBMS. At the outset, I propose a sincere vote of thanks to our Honorable Speaker, Mr. Alvaro Andrade, sir, for sharing his knowledge and experience on economic and business. Sir, you correctly said that while this COVID-19 business has slowed down and this challenge we are facing, and you said there is a possibility, and what is the possibility to start the new business and all these things. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. I also express my sincere thanks to other speaker, the Joseph Edison, sir, for sharing your observation, your guidance, and your motivation. Sir, you correctly said that it is necessary to generate solutions from citizens about actions, and with the help of behavior economic and the changed habitat. And sir, you very nicely given the answer of all the queries of respected participant. I wish I wish my I also wish to express my gratitude to Dr. Abdullah, principal of Central India College of Business Management, for his enthusiastic support. Last but not the least, I would like to thank Dr. Manoj Rao, sir, and the entire organizing committee, teaching and non-teaching staff for their unflinching supports and coordinations. Our heartfelt thanks to all the respected participants for their energetic participation in short time. With these warm words and a kind message, we move to the end of this international webinar. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. The feedback link and the certificates will be given by tomorrow before 8 p.m. So please, all the participants, do not panic. Now, I'd like everyone to on their cameras for a photo session. Please put on your cameras for the photo session. हो गया.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, the participants, the speakers, and the organizers. Now we'll meet for the next webinar. Thank you so much.